1996 Summer Olympics, officially known as the Games of the 100th Olympiad, were held in Atlanta, Georgia. These games marked a historic milestone, the 100th anniversary of the modern Olympic Games, which began in Athens in 1896. To commemorate the centennial, the city of Atlanta built a brand new venue, the Centennial Olympic Stadium, a massive 85,000-seat arena that served as the centerpiece for the Games. Hosting the Olympics brought a major investment into Atlanta's infrastructure, forever changing the city's layout and development. Along with Michael Johnson's win, wearing golden shoes and setting the world record in them, was Kerry Strug landing a legendary vault on an injured ankle, helping the US women's gymnastics team win its first ever team gold. Along with that, the return of the Dream Team in basketball, led by players like Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. During this Olympics was also a lot of firsts. Beach volleyball made its Olympic debut, as did women's soccer, further broadening the gender and sport diversity of the Olympic Games. Naim Suleimanoglu, the Turkish weightlifting legend, cementing his legacy with a third Olympic gold. The 1996 Olympics are widely seen as the most commercialized games in history. The event was sponsored heavily by corporations like Coca-Cola, headquartered in Atlanta, Home Depot, and McDonald's. The event even drew criticism for being overly corporate, with logos and branding present at every venue. The 1996 Games featured 197 nations and over 10,000 athletes. Among the unforgettable moments was American sprinter Michael Johnson's legendary double gold win in the 200-meter and 400-meter races, a feat no male athlete had ever accomplished before. But amid the triumphs, the Atlanta Games were also marked by tragedy. On July 27, 1996, in the early hours of the morning, a bomb detonated in Centennial Olympic Park. The blast killed one person, Alice Hawthorne, and injured 111 others. A second individual, Malie Eugenio, died of a heart attack shortly after the blast. The man behind the attack was Eric Robert Rudolph, later dubbed the Olympic Park Bomber. Born in Florida in 1966, Rudolph experienced early trauma after losing his father to cancer at the age of 15. Over time, he became deeply radicalized, dropping out of high school and eventually falling under the influence of an anti-Semitic, racist, and homophobic preacher in Missouri. Investigators believe that Rudolph's growing sentiment toward the government led him to terrorism. His motive? To shame the US government for its support of abortion rights. He would later claim responsibility in a written statement, saying, "The bombing was meant to confound, anger, and embarrass the Washington government for its abominable sanctioning of abortion on demand." The Olympic bombing was just the beginning. On January 16, 1997, a bomb exploded at the Northside Family Planning Services Clinic in Sandy Springs, Georgia. And on February 21, 1997, Rudolph would later plant a bomb at the Other Side Lounge, a lesbian nightclub in Atlanta, injuring 5 people. And on January 29, 1998, a deadly bomb went off at the New Woman All-Woman Healthcare Clinic in Birmingham, Alabama, killing off-duty officer Robert Sanderson and critically injuring nurse Emily Leons. Rudolph's attack was part of a broader crusade rooted in extremist ideologies, opposing abortion, gay rights, and federal authority. He would later write a manifesto titled Between the Lines of Drift, the Memoirs of a Militant, which was never formally published but circulated within radical groups like the Army of God. The manhunt for Eric Rudolph became one of the largest in US history at the time. A skilled survivalist, Rudolph hid in the mountains of western North Carolina for nearly 7 years. Despite intense efforts by federal agents and local law enforcement, many locals felt the search was ineffective. Some even mocked it, saying police were just sitting around and drinking coffee. Ironically, Rudolph wasn't captured through high-tech surveillance or elite tactical work. Instead, it was a rookie police officer, Eric Postle, who caught him. In May 2003, Postle, just 21 years old, was on an overnight patrol in Murphy, North Carolina. At around 3:30 a.m., he spotted a suspicious man behind a grocery store. Initially believing the man was armed, Postle detained him and noticed something strange. The man had no ID, no clear identity, and gave vague answers. That man was Eric Rudolph. In 2005, Rudolph pled guilty to all 4 bombings. He he received 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. In his confessions, he showed no remorse. Instead, he doubled down on his extremist beliefs, stating that his violence was justified to stop abortion and prevent the expansion of gay rights. Before Eric Postel was identified, the FBI and media wrongfully accused and focused on Richard Jewell, a security guard who was working at the Olympics that night. Jewell had discovered a suspicious backpack containing the bombs and helped evacuate the area, likely saving many lives. At first, he was hailed as a hero, but soon he became the prime suspect, largely due to rushed FBI profiling and a sensationalist media frenzy. Though he was later exonerated, the damage to Jewell's reputation was devastating. His story became a case study in the dangers of trial by media and assumptions over evidence. His story was later portrayed in Clint Eastwood's 2019 film Richard Jewell. The FBI, under pressure to produce a suspect quickly, began treating Jewell as their prime suspect. Using a criminal profiling technique, they theorized that Jewell fit the mold of a so-called hero bomber, someone who plants a bomb to later discover it and gain praise. Although there were no physical evidence, no clear motive, and no witnesses placing Jewell at the scene with the bomb beforehand, the FBI's suspicion was leaked to the press. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution published a front-page story identifying him as the main suspect, and soon CNN, NBC, and other networks followed. Jewell's name was dragged through the mud. His apartment was searched by the FBI. News helicopters hovered above his house. He couldn't leave without cameras in his face. Despite not being charged, the media storm painted him guilty in the court of public opinion. Eventually, the investigation turned up zero evidence linking Jewell to the crime. After 88 days of relentless scrutiny, he was fully exonerated when the FBI officially cleared him of all suspicion, but the damage was already done. Jewell later said, "For 88 days, I lived with the weight of the world on my shoulders." His mother, Bobby Jewell, became a quiet symbol of anguish as she stood by her son through the public humiliation. Richard Jewell's story became a chilling example of the dangers of media, rush to judgment, flawed investigative practices, and how easily an innocent man's life can be destroyed. In 2006, Richard Jewell died of heart failure at age 44. Many believe the stress and public vilification he endured played a role in his early death. His legacy lives on, not as the man who saved lives during the bombing, but as a symbol of why due process, evidence, and restraint in journalism matters. In 2019, Clint Eastwood directed the film Richard Jewell, which tells the story in full, showcasing both the heroism and horrific injustice that Jewell endured. The 1996 Atlanta Olympics were a symbol of glory, global unity, and athletic excellence, but also a reminder of how terror, misinformation, and injustice can impact lives forever. From Michael Johnson's golden glory to the resilience of a city shaken by violence, Atlanta 1996 remains one of the most unforgettable Olympic Games in history.